Hello, I'm Julia and I knit a lot, and this is my channel, Julia Knitsalot. Thank you so much for being here today. I haven't recorded in about 2 months, I think, and there is a reason for that. I have been working in secret on a very big project, and I didn't want to show it on my channel because it's a surprise for my mom. She has a big birthday this summer, and this is a birthday gift for her, and I had to wait until after the birthday before I could show it here, because I didn't want to spoil the surprise, obviously. So, what do you think is the worst project to work on during multiple heat waves, and you have to work on it because you want to finish it in time? It is a big woolly blanket. Yes, I finished the Slipstravaganza Blanket. It's so big I can't even show it on screen. I will probably record some B-roll later on, or stand up to show it in a little bit. This is a blanket by Stephen West, and I have been intrigued by this blanket for quite a while because it is so colorful. You can play around with scraps or with yarn stash, and as you know, I want to reduce my stash this year. So let's see, how can I so I'm struggling a bit with this huge. Okay, this is good. So also it's again a really hot day today, so holding this big warm blanket is actually not that ideal, but it will be fine. So as I was saying, I want to reduce my yarn stash this year, and I have been intrigued by this blanket for a while, and I really wanted to try it, and I really I was intrigued by how this pattern invites you to use small amounts of certain colors for certain stripes, and then as you progress in the blanket you will need larger amounts of yarn for each round. But in the beginning you can actually use relatively small scraps. So I started this in November 2025, and didn't work on it too much at the beginning of 2026 because I was really into knitting my Jelly Jam sweater, which is still not finished. It's just been too hot to work on that sweater, and at some point this blanket had to get some more attention, otherwise it wouldn't have been finished in time. So I started it last November and I finished it a couple of days ago, a week ago, in the middle of July. And at some point in April I realized, okay, you really need to get a move on with this blanket, otherwise this will not happen. And it took me a lot of, at some point I was exclusively knitting on this, and because it is a surprise, I couldn't show it in any video. So I actually reached a point where I felt like I didn't really have anything to show because I couldn't show it. And I wasn't really working on anything else. So in the beginning of June, I think I was here on the 1st of June. Let's see, I was here, and all of this, it doesn't look like much, all of this I knit in about 6 weeks, and during these 6 weeks we had multiple heat waves of over 30 degrees Celsius, on some days over 35. Today also is a day which will reach, where temperatures will reach around 36, I think. So yeah, it's just not ideal. It's not ideal. I shouldn't have left it for so late, but it is what it is. So toward the end, these very large sections, actually these very long rounds in the end, have over 700 stitches. I think it's around 750. And one round took me around 40 minutes. So yeah, it was a lot of knitting in hot weather. And it took some dedication, but now it's done and I think it looks really good. So let's start with the yarn that I used. I think I've mentioned this is a pattern by Stephen West. So for the main color, I used, I'm struggling. I used the white. Let's see. And I was a bit worried that the colors would bleed into the white main color, but I couldn't find any bleeding after washing and blocking. So for the main, I used, I don't think I have it here. So this was the project bag that I used for this. At some point it was obviously, I'm struggling with the camera today. It was obviously a bit too small, but now I have all the leftovers in here, most of them. Yes, for the main color I used a white, and it is Lam Yarns Merino 120. I bought this last October or beginning of November specifically for this blanket, and I massively overestimated how much yarn I will use. Of course, I also looked at the yardage in the pattern, and I don't know what happened. I knew that I wouldn't knit the large size. So there is a large size which is absolutely massive, and there's a small size. I made the small size, and the large size, I think maybe I looked at the yardage for the large size, but I knew I wouldn't make the larger one. So I don't know why I don't know what happened there, to be honest. Maybe I was thinking that I would use, I did use some of the main color in the bubble section, and maybe I was overestimate, and in the pattern that is not what he does. He uses contrast colors throughout, but I wanted to use the white also for the bubble section. So maybe I overestimated how much yarn I would need on top of the yardage for the small size. Anyway, I still have 500 grams left. I bought 12 balls, I think. So I had 1,200 grams, and I still have over 500 grams. So I used a little bit more than half of what I bought. But still, I used around over 600 grams of yarn for this blanket, only the main color, which I will be able to take off of my stash number because I bought it last year. So when I did my my stash video in the beginning of the year, or around the change of the year, I already had this yarn, so I can now reduce my stash number. For the other colors, for the contrast colors, I did a scrappy version. So they have in the pattern, they have a version where you can just knit with 3 contrast colors, and of course you can buy a kit from Stephen and Penelope with their yarn and so on, and you will buy like 12 skeins of, you know, it's a lot of yarn and it's a lot of money, but you can also do a scrappy version. And actually for every section, the pattern tells you how much yarn you will more or less need for that section. So for this honeycomb section, this is a bit unwieldy. For the honeycomb section, I used, I almost exclusively used yarn that I already had. I had to buy 1 or 2 colors to kind of fill in the yarn, the color scheme that I had in mind. So the smallest one here, this one, is Regia Premium Silk 4-ply, and I still have quite a bit of that yarn left, but it was just a small nugget from I think it was in the garter blanket that I frogged last fall. You can go back and watch that episode where I frog projects. It was a garter blanket that I frogged. I think it was in there. And also some of these bits here, those were smaller random scraps. And this also where I used small amounts of yarn. So it was really just like tiny balls of yarn from that project that I frogged, or leftovers from some other project. And the other ones were Walk Collection Cottage Merino in Pearl, and some Sandnesgarn Sunday in this kind of almond color, and some just random pink mohair that I still had lying around. I think that was the very first mohair that I ever bought, and it like from a big box store here, and I think I bought it for a cardigan that I made for my mom. So it kind of is like a full circle now that I'm using the very last scraps of that yarn that I still had somewhere lying around for another project, for another birthday gift for my mom. Like 14 years later. Okay, so the next one was Double Sunday, and I often combined several yarns together. So this is a DK weight pattern, and I often used like a fingering weight and a lace weight, like a fingering weight and a mohair. Or for this one, I think I used, Sunday, Double Sunday. Sandnesgarn Double Sunday is actually a DK weight, but I know that it pills a bit. It pills quite easily, so I still wanted to pair it with another strand, and I used Filcolana Alva, which is a lace weight alpaca. And this one I actually have a bit. I think I bought like 6 balls of this, and I wanted to make something for myself, and I think this color is just a little bit too warm for me, so I used some in the blanket. Where is the you can't really see the the logo anymore because I taped it together. This is what I sometimes do. But this is Filcolana Alva. Some of it that I still have left from that ball, and you can read it here. There's another one. And I have the Double Sunday. In the colorway 3521. The Alva was the color 334. And for the... So far I didn't have to buy any yarn. And then I reached this honeycomb, this kind of orangey one. And I again used the Regia Schachenmeier Regia Premium Silk 4-ply in this color. In the colorway 32. So this is the label. I don't know how easily this is still available. It's not really that easily available in Switzerland anymore because the brand had closed down, and then it got, I think it got bought by Hobby, and so I would have to order it from Hobby, but I'm not sure if Hobby actually has an online store in Switzerland, and I don't really want to buy from abroad because shipping and taxes and everything. I mean, I do sometimes do that, but it has to be like a special yarn that I really, really want. So I had this, and I wanted to use it again, but change the shade of the color a little bit. So I bought one skein of Lana Grossa Seta Suri, which is a Suri alpaca yarn in the color 22. And again, I taped the label together so you cannot really see the logo anymore. So I combined these two colors together. And the result really, really pops. It's this really punchy, kind of corally orange colorway. Let me just maybe move a little bit. Okay, then for the next section, for this slip stitch section, this one. This one. I used the Fiberfox Advent from 2025, and I used the days 24 and 23. So actually, I wasn't planning on buying the Advent calendar for that year. And then when she released her mood boards in March 2025, it was all like pastel colors, and it was the theme was like cottage garden. And I saw it and I thought these colors really, really remind me of the colors that my mom likes. So I actually bought that Advent with the intention of making this blanket with that Advent for my mom. And the Advent arrived, and I started opening the colors, and it just wasn't really what I was imagining, what I was expecting. And I decided that this is actually not what I envisioned for this specific project. So the yarn from the Advent is still really beautiful. It is, the colors are really, really nice, but it's just, at that point I realized they don't really fit what I had in mind for this specific gift. So I only used 2 of the mini skeins from that Advent. I still included them in the blanket, but the other colors, some of them didn't really weren't really actually as pastel-y as I expected, and they also had sometimes like little streaks of brownish flecks, brownish spots in them, which was intentional, but didn't go with the vibe that I was planning for this project, which is fine. I will use it for something else. Then comes the bubble section, and this section is actually took so long. It's really striking, but it takes a while. So I had to, it's fallen down. I had to actually buy yarn for this light pink because I miscalculated how much yarn I would use for one bubble stripe. So at this point you increase and you have over 700 stitches, and a regular stockinette round took me about 40 minutes, depending on how distracted I am. And the bubble round, every 6th round you do a specific round where you knit 4 rows below, and that's how and then you drop the stitch, and that's how you create this bubble motif. And this took quite a long time because it takes more time than just knitting stockinette. So I had this is Drops Fabel, a sock yarn that I bought for the Chili Jam sweater, and I had about 30 grams still left, and I actually don't really like the Drops Fabel. I don't think I would buy it again, and I wanted to use it up. So I tried to calculate how much yarn do I need for one bubble. The pattern gives you information on how much of each contrast color, assuming that you use 3 contrast colors, how much yarn for each contrast color you will use, but it doesn't tell you how much you need for one bubble stripe. So I did my calculations, and I don't know what happened. I must have been distracted or something, because I did something wrong. I wrote down 14 grams, and I had around 30 grams of the Drops Fabel, and I thought, okay, well, that's perfect. I can hold it double and I will just use up what I have. That's perfect. And I started knitting, and after one round I realized, okay, I already used up quite a bit. I don't think this will last me 6 rounds. One bubble motif is 6 rounds. And then I calculated again, and I think I must have written down the number wrong. I then realized it's 41 grams. And so I had to buy more. I wanted to use up this yarn, and I had to buy more. And because you cannot really buy this in a yarn store, you have to buy it online, at least here. I had to order 1 ball of yarn, and the Drops yarn is quite cheap. I actually had to pay more for shipping than for the yarn. And I held it double, did the bubble, and now I again have 37 grams left. So I'm at the same point where I started. And again I have this much yarn from the Drops Fabel. This is the colorway 120. Some people really like this yarn for socks. I don't like the feel of it when I touch it. I don't know. I mean, I will probably use it for socks, for the heels and cuffs, but I wouldn't really go out and buy more. I think there are enough other sock yarns that I prefer. So yeah. Then I also completely used up, I don't have any of that left, a Drops Puna, which is 100% alpaca, and I combined it with the Filcolana Alva again here for this kind of beigey. This was perfect for just using up what I had, and I actually had to dig around my yarn scraps and find more like every teeny tiny scrap, like 2 grams, 1.5 grams, that I still could find of this yarn, because in the last round I ran out of yarn again, and I really didn't want to buy a full ball of yarn just to finish the round. So I actually, luckily I found enough tiny scraps somewhere to finish the round, and yeah. What else then? The other colors I think I all mentioned them. Oh no, there's this one, the orange one. This really intense orange is Lana Grossa Cool Wool, which is again from that video where I frogged projects. I frogged a kid sweater in the same bubble motif, and this orange is one of the colors there. So from this orange yarn I have lots of small scraps. So this was perfect for using up those small scraps. I have a little bit here. And I combined it with the Setasuri again, and this made a really intense punchy orange, which I like. And then for the last bubble I realized, okay, there's some of the Fiber Fox yarn, in case you wanted to have a look. I mean, she does really beautiful colorways. Every year I tell myself, don't buy the Advent, it's a lot of money, and then I buy it. It's the only Advent that I buy. I don't know, she just really does these beautiful colors. I think that those are all of them. So for the last bubble I realized that I wanted a specific color to finish the blanket, or to make the last bubble, and I didn't really have enough of the other colors to finish 6 rounds, so I had to buy another ball. So in total I bought 50 grams of this, which is a long yarns Merino 200 Bebe in the color 609. And this peachy color. And I have 27 grams of this left. I think I can use this somewhere in a scrappy project. So these are all the yarn balls that are still, left over from this project. So in total I bought for this project this peachy one that I just showed, 50 grams, then the Drops Fable, 50 grams, and the orange fluffy yarn, 25 grams, so 125 grams I bought for the blanket. And how much did I use? I used so much yarn. So I have my notebook as always, and I noted down. I really get a kick out of this, measuring my yarn and noting down how much yarn I use from each color. And I do all of this by hand because I don't want to sit in front of a screen all day. This actually is more satisfying to me if I write this down by hand. So I wrote down all the yarn that I used. And the main color alone, so the white alone, I used 301.8 grams. And all the other colors, the scrappy stuff, just the different colors in small amounts and bigger amounts, I used 344.7 grams. So combined, in total, this blanket used 646.5 grams. So this is a very big progress in my plan to advance my stash busting year, to reduce my stash. And yeah, I'm really happy. I'm also happy with the result. And now I just realized I forgot to show you the border of the blanket, which is really beautiful. So the small size comes with this picot blank border, and at this point we were away last week with the family on vacation, and I didn't want to take this project with me on vacation. I really didn't want to. So I was determined to finish it before vacation, and tomorrow is my mom's birthday party and I will give it to her. So today is the only day to record this, and the blanket had to be finished before we leave, so I could block it, wash it and block it, and then the blanket would have like a whole week to dry. And I did manage to do that, but toward the end I was really starting to calculate how many hours do I still have for knitting, how long does one row take me, how many rounds do I still need to do, and then there was also the bind off. So on the very last day, which was actually on my mom's birthday, her actual birthday, I finished. The very last possible day before we left, I finished the blanket. And I think I knit about at least 4 hours on that day alone. So this bind off took quite a while because it is a double layered bind off. So you knit, I think it's 8. So you do one of these bubble stitch rounds again to create the last bubble, which takes a while, and then you knit, I think 7 or 8, just a certain amount of rounds. I think it was 8. You do the picot, which is an eyelet row. You do the other set of rounds, like let's just say 7, and then you can fold it along the eyelet row, which will create this nice edge. And then you have to do the bind off. And for that, you need to you fold it, and at this point you have the wrong side in front of you, and you pick up the purl bump and you knit it together with the first live stitch on your needle. And that's how you create this bind off. I did this for about 50 stitches, and it took me around 45 minutes, and I thought, okay, I cannot continue this because I need to finish this today. And I cannot do this like for the rest of the day. I also had my kids at home. And luckily my husband was looking after the kids while I did the bind off. Well, at some point I had it down, the bind off. I could do it while people were around, but at first I really had to focus, but after a while it got easier. So I decided, let's make this a little bit quicker, and I only did the pick up for every second stitch. So I only picked up a purl bump on the wrong side, knitted together for every second stitch, and the other stitch I just did a regular bind off. And also I went up 2 needle sizes for the bind off. I bound off with a 5mm needle to make it as stretchy as possible. And at that point, this beautiful edge was just flopping up constantly. It was always doing this kind of floppy. It was always like folding, and I was really, really worried that I couldn't block it out. I was quite worried about that. But then as you can see, it blocked out. So I finished the bind off and I washed and blocked it, and the blanket still grew quite a bit. I didn't actually measure the blanket, and yeah, I blocked it. I think it was at 10 in the evening and we left the next morning. So yeah, this was really a last minute. I finished it in the last possible minute. So yeah, that's my Slipstravaganza blanket. Maybe I can show. I will record some B-roll, I think, to show you the blanket in its glory. If I put away the chair, let's see, this is, I don't have that much space here, but you can see this is a big blanket, and I think it's turned out really well. Sorry for the noise. I don't think I will be talking too much about other projects today. First of all, there's not too much to talk about because this took a lot of my time, and I think I will just talk about like my summer tea and a new scrappy stash busting project in the next video. Also, life in general, if you're interested in that. So it's summer vacation here, as I have mentioned. It's really hot again, and I am in a different spot today because we are planning to renovate the space where I usually film. We live in a very old house, and the roof is not really isolated. So our house is over 100 years old, and maybe, I don't know if you remember, my craft room is like under the roof. So the roof at that spot is not isolated. And so we really want to isolate the roof to keep the heat out, and in summer and in winter to keep the heat in. And for that reason I have started to pull out all of my yarn again. I just did that in December. I pulled it out all again, and I'm starting to put it in boxes, and it's just a pure chaos up there, so I cannot really film there right now. And I was kind of starting to overthink where to put which yarn. At first it was quite easy because I knew, okay, I will not be using Nutiden or, super heavyweight yarn in summer, so that's okay. But then as I reached some of the more thinner yarns, I was thinking, okay, you don't know how long this will take. This will definitely take a couple of months. You need to know where you have the yarns that you might want to use in the next couple of months, and I don't really want to plan too far ahead. I'm not really that kind of knitter. I usually prefer it. The projects that I like most are usually the ones that I start just from inspiration, not projects that I plan 3 months in advance. So I kind of want to have the ability to still access the yarns that I might use in the next couple of months and still kind of play around with it. Yeah, so I was overthinking that a little bit, and we will see. You will see how it goes. So yeah, I needed to find a new spot to film, and here I am. We will see how it goes in the next couple of months. And hopefully the next video will come out sooner. Now I don't have any secret big projects anymore that I have to hide from the internet. Because I know that my mom, she watches all of my videos as well as other family members. So, hello! And I of course didn't want to spoil the surprise. And I think that's more or less it. Hopefully see you soon, and take care. And whatever you do for crafting, maybe you're not the type who likes to knit in this hot weather. I have actually discovered coloring again. I don't really spend as much time coloring as I would like, but I think this is actually a really good craft for hot weather. So I bought the Kerby, I don't know how you pronounce his name, Kerby Rosanes. I bought one of his coloring books, the Alien Worlds. I found it really intriguing because I don't see that many coloring books with that theme, and it's kind of dark and serious, like very mature, not this kind of cozy coloring type, which I appreciate. I appreciate the more mature style. And what I really like about this science fiction inspired theme is that it allows you to go really wild with the color scheme that you choose for your coloring. So I only started like one page. I think it took me about an hour to choose a page because I didn't want to ruin the book. But now I started. So I think this is a really a good craft for hot weather. If you're also like me in a heat wave situation and you feel like maybe you are not like completely crazy like me and you don't want to knit on a huge woolly blanket in the middle of summer, I think coloring is actually a good substitute for that, or whatever you like. So I'm rambling now, so I hope whatever you choose to do, I hope it brings you joy. Take care of yourself and see you next time. Bye!